Welcome to the OUM community. Hi, Angelita and Talopa, to Donghyun and Gabriella and Michael and Vinu, Kiora, to Anu and Kimberly and Romani and Kevin. Bonjour to Mitch and Michael and Martin and Ikra. Hi to Grace, and hi, Dr. Chi. Hi, and Jeff, and Talofa, to Malik and Jems. Dr. Chi, I'm going to promote you to panelists in case you'd like to say hello to our
Mhm.
guests today. Lovely to have you here. Welcome to our Meet the Student Ambassadors webinar here at Oceana University of Medicine, and welcome to the OUM community. We're so glad that you've made some time to join us today to meet some of our student ambassadors. And we have two student ambassadors here to speak with you today. Our student ambassadors are the people who are available to provide a little bit of information on their experience to our prospective students. And student ambassadors help new students as they start orientation and into our general principles classes. And we have a special treat today as well. We have Dr. Chiwe Okeke, who is one of our preclinical faculty and also is our student success advisor manager. So let's start with I should introduce myself if you haven't met me before. I'm Associate Professor Nicolette McGuire, and I'm our Associate Dean for Student Engagement. And I'm so glad that you've joined us today to engage with us and learn a little bit more about students at our university. So I'm first going to ask Gabriel, our first student ambassador today. Would you like to introduce yourself?
Okay, hello everyone. Um, yeah, there's not really much to say about myself other than the fact that my name is Gabriel. Last name is Siwa. I'm actually stationed here and doing my core rotation here in Samoa right now. We're currently having a dengue outbreak. Um, and we've been very busy. I just finished my pediatrics core rotation, so I'm just currently doing my studies for my EOR, as well as actually finishing up my logbook and also my case studies. A little bit about myself. I entered OUM after actually getting working for some years here in Samoa, receiving a bachelor in dental technology. And after I served my bond, OUM actually opened up with actually a scholarship. So I decided to enter that program. And I'm very thankful. I come from a long line of doctors in our family. So I'm very thankful to OUM for actually providing this opportunity, as well as actually throughout my process in OUM, I've learned there's a lot of hardships, and I came across also some very difficult times, and just as we all do. And I did come across also some difficulties in terms of technology and other things. And I wanted to join this program in order to kind of not only give some of my experience to help out, you know, other students coming up and actually in some of the technology issues, as well as actually who to contact. Dr. McGuire was very helpful during a lot of the difficult issues I've had. And I've learned also to write emails regularly, which is something I never did before. If One thing I can say is that if you communicate through emails, every single issue you might actually come across, you would actually get it done. Uh, Emailing, I found that actually I emailed a lot of different people, and actually I got informed of whether the right directory as well as actually the right emails to actually email. And I'm also very thankful with Dr. KK being here because I was one of her students also in one of her classes. Always very happy to hear your jolly self in terms of your lectures. And I'm very thankful to actually be invited to this. I hope that actually when you're here in Samoa, I can help you as much as I can. And some of the students that have come here to Samoa during co-rotation, really sorry if I couldn't help you as much as I could. One thing I can tell you is that when you're here, you will definitely learn how to do IV resites as well as actually taking bloods properly. And actually, one of the things that you will learn is having good rapport with nurses, really make your time here in co-rotations much more easier. And also always asking questions over there to the doctors on the ward. It becomes tough because they love to speak in the language, but never give up and just keep on asking questions over there as much as you can. If there's anything actually that I haven't covered, I'm pretty sure my colleague Atusa will actually cover it. Thank you very much for the opportunity, and thank you again, Dr. McQuire.
Thanks, Gabriel. We're really thankful to have you as part of the OUM community as well. And also because you have so much going on right now with your pediatrics rotation and all of your submissions of case studies and logbooks and the dengue outbreak. We really appreciate you being here and sharing some of your experiences with us. Atusa, would you like to take a moment to introduce yourself, please?
Absolutely. Hi, everyone. My name is Atisa. I am halfway through my fourth year and halfway through my clinicals. I have completed family and community medicine, pediatrics, and obs and gynae. And on Monday, oh, I'm so happy about that. And on Monday, I'm actually going interstate. So I'm originally from Sydney, Australia, and I will be traveling all the way to Adelaide to do internal medicine. So I'm relocating for 10 weeks to complete my internal medicine rotation, and I'm extremely excited about that because we have such a great relationship with a couple of public hospitals over there, which gives us a great experience hands-on with acute cases and with our public healthcare. In regards to a background on myself, before I did OUM, I started OUM in 2022. And prior to that, I was a practicing chiropractor for 4 or 5 years before I decided to progress and move on to a different profession. And honestly, the biggest part I miss about that is being hands-on and being in the room with my clients. But I'm starting to realize in the clinical years, the more interaction with face-to-face with patients has been great. You can still build that rapport. And it feels like I'm back into that clinical world again. So I'm actually loving it. Um, the biggest reason why I wanted to do this program was med school can be really lonely. And I know that it takes a village to support you as well. And I'm lucky enough to have a good support system, but I understand not everyone may have that, or even if they do, there's nothing wrong with having an additional person. And if someone knows what you're going through, especially within this program, if they're a couple of years ahead of you or whatnot, having someone to ask you questions at any time of the day, send them a message or just reach out, it's a comforting thought. So I wanted to be able to be there as someone that, as much as I can help you, reach out. And if I don't know, I'm lucky enough to have a lot of colleagues like that I'm studying with, that, a lot of people that are within our year, and someone will have that answer for you. So that was the biggest reason. I just wanted to be able to support as emotionally as I can, because as much as as a mental progress, this is a mental journey, it's also a massive emotional one as well. So that was the biggest reason why I wanted to do it. Thank you.
I really appreciate that, Atusa, because you cannot underestimate the power of a strong support system. So the
100%.
fact that that you've had a really strong support system and now you want to contribute to that with others is really,
Definitely.
so thank you for doing that.
Thank you.
Lillian, nice to see you. Would you like to introduce yourself as well?
Hello, everyone. It's morning here. I'll be here for a few minutes, then I'm going out to placement. I'm doing obs gynae. My name is Lilian Atieno. Background, I'm a registered nurse, critical care. I mostly have worked in ICU for the last over 10 years. And now I'm just doing casual ICU and emergency. I'm in my clinical.
Just
Hey?
cardio, just those three things.
Yeah, so I'm in my clinicals now. I've done family medicine and family elective. And then I've done internal medicine 3/4 way, and I'm finishing my obs gynae in 2 weeks' time, and then I'm heading to elective psychiatry, and then I have a few more in the year before wait for the next year, and I think I'm doing some more in January. And I'm also OUM chapter advocacy officer, and now this role. Pretty much lucky. I'm lucky to have a lot of students in Victoria, so I get to meet a lot of students and prospective students. So most of the times they come to me and I speak to them, and I was like, if I'm doing that already, then I may as well be part of it. And not to forget that I had a push from Dr. Chinwe Okeke as well, because I think a few students I had a chance of meeting a few students with CP. And after that, I think Dr. Keke was like, you may as well do it. I was like, if Dr. Keke can say it, then I think I'm ready. So that was a good thing. And really, really appreciate the help of the beginning, Dr. McGuire, when we were starting. It was really difficult, but you were always there. And then towards the end of the SBM, Dr. Keke was there. You send an email anytime of the night because you're there cracking and you want to questions answered. Dr. Keke will always be there, which was really, really appreciated. And so I felt like students really need somebody like, okay, sometimes you get to the lecturers and they don't get back in time. But then if you have a few more contacts, at least one person answers, it's sort of reassuring. And it's just about telling them, oh, just hold on a minute. It could be another time on the other side. So it will be answered. And I think that is reassuring. But I really have met a lot of students physically. Other than that, I don't know what else I'm supposed to say apart from I'm really appreciative to be in the course. And thank you all.
We're appreciative to have you too, and for you to serve our community, both as a student ambassador and as an executive member of our OUM Student Association. So thank you for doing that, Lillian. Amongst, the 0.1% of free time that you have. So thank you for doing that. Dr. Okeke, would you like to introduce yourself, please?
I really just thank you so much, Associate Professor McGuire. I just really came to just see the student ambassadors. My name is Dr. Chiwe Okeke, and I serve as preclinical faculty and student success advisor manager. I just want to say again, I just came to see Atusa, Gabriel, and Lillian are like my surrogate kids. I remember when you all started and where you all are progressed to, and so I'm just so grateful to see that you guys are reaching out to our prospective and incoming students under the advisement of Dr. McGuire, who guides all of us, not just students, but us faculty as well. I've had several conversations with Dr. McGuire needing support. But I just want to say to everyone that the OUM student ambassadors are just another voice, another rope, another tethering to the university. You're not at it alone. And just listen to their stories. I mean, I remember Atusa, Gabrielle, and Lillian very, very vividly. And to see where they are now, just know that this can be you as well, which is reaching back, reaching um, forward, reaching together, just knowing that we're in this together. So I just wanted to say thank you. And again, I just came to just eavesdrop on the progression of my surrogate kids. So hello, Atusa, Gabrielle, and Lillian. It's so good to see you all. Thank you, McGuire.
I didn't let you just sit nicely in the audience. I pulled you into the panel.
That's okay.
So thank you for indulging that and being here to support Gabriel and Atusa and Lillian. This is actually their first activity as student ambassadors. So it's great to have you in their corner along with myself and all of our attendees here today. So I have a few questions to ask all of you, just to get to know you a little bit more and more about your experience at OUM. And throughout this session, attendees, if you have any questions that you'd like Gabriel or Atusa or Lillian or even Dr. Okeke or myself to answer, please go ahead and type that into the Q&A box. Or if you'd like to take the microphone and ask your question live, you're more than welcome to do that as well. Just hit the raise hand button at the bottom, in the bottom frame of the Zoom box. So I wanted to know from each of you, and we're talking about this a little bit, but like, how did you know that OUM was the right school for you, and what makes OUM different than other medical schools, that this was the place for you? So Lillian, do you want to take this one first?
Yes, actually. OUM, like before starting OUM, I saw OUM advertised in pamphlets a long time ago. I was in a country hospital in Bendigo, and I saw it, and I know there was a student who was studying was working in the ward. I mean, I was in ICU, and she was working in a surgical or medical unit, and I heard about it, and I saw it, and since I saw it, it was always in my mind. And at that time, I was doing postgraduate critical care, and I thought, you know what, I may as well do masters in preparation, because I read a few things and I thought I may as well do masters, finish in preparation for this. And then moving forward, a few years later, I looked at other colleges. I looked at Melbourne Uni, I looked at Dickens, I looked at La Trobe, and they were all taught sessions. You had to go to class and all that. And I thought, having a family and also having to work, because I'm a foreign in this country. Like, I'm a citizen, but then I came here, so I was sort of like working full time, and I thought there was no way I was gonna manage like taught sessions in class, brick and mortar, and do work full time at the same time. And of course, sometimes family come along. So by the time I decided I wanted to go to the medical school, I already had kids, and I thought the only way I was going to study was online. Be it like, because I looked at, there was no way I was going to manage to switch between work, kids, and family and school. So I looked around, and it all still got me back to OUM. And it's all from several years of me seeing it advertised like. So I thought OUM. Then when I applied the first time, I think I wasn't quite ready, and I appreciate that I couldn't get in when I applied first. And then the person who I went through, I think she's left now, she came back to me. She called me and said, "Oh, put in your application for the next intake." So I put in my application for the next intake, and I interviewed, and I got in. And I really, really appreciate that I got in, because ever since, like, working and doing the course and just knowing that the lectures are already recorded, you can miss the lectures, and then the following day you can sit and actually go through the lectures. And not even that, you can still attend the lectures, and there's something that you didn't understand, you still can go back to the lectures and re-listen, which is not an opportunity that you would get with other universities, because either you're writing notes or you're given printout lecture notes, which you have to read. But listening is kind of different from reading. Sometimes you want somebody to be explaining. And I think that has been, it's been a good direction and a good decision that I got into OUM. It really supported me, and I can say that without OUM, I don't think I would have achieved becoming or even thinking of being a doctor. Did I answer it?
I love that story. I love that we were just like the exact right fit for you, like in so many different ways. So I appreciated hearing your story. Thank you for sharing that. Gabriel, would you like to share about why OUM was the right school for you and why it's kind of different from other medical schools?
Yeah. Thank you, Lillian. It seems like you've had a lot of achievements in life. I'm not that experienced in a lot of things. I can say that I picked OUM. It was the right fit for me at the time. I was actually working as here in after I got my degree from New Zealand. So when I came back to cover my bond, and while I was working, I didn't know what I was going to do next. So I was thinking, maybe I should go and do my master's. Maybe I should go and pursue another career over there in dental. And then it just so happens that actually OUM, right after my bond finished, the advertisement came up. You know what I mean? I actually heard from other people also who's already joined, and they said the good thing about OUM that I found out was that the degree is not just like a doctor's degree, you get an MD. And I thought there was, something far better than actually I would actually do if I go and pursue my career in masters or things like that. And not only that, as she already mentioned, Lillian mentioned, it's the convenience of study. Whichever you can be anywhere, like I could fly to New Zealand tomorrow and then still be able to access my notes, still be able to cover my exams, and anything over there like that I need to do can be done all online. As long as I have access to online, I can cover it. The other thing that actually I found with OUM that I don't know if actually was in the other universities that actually I was in, there wasn't really much support that I can actually do via email much. It's more like I have to be there in person. But with here, I think Dr. McQuire probably sees my urgent emails like every single clinical rotation I have. I like message, like I would email her, I would do CCing emails to literally everyone. And one thing I can say is that the staff in OUM is actually very convenient to actually help you when you need it. Even if it's something minor, some of the things I used to email Dr. McQuire was an easy fix, but I was very concerned that I might be in trouble or something like that. And the other thing is that OUM um for me was actually throughout this time because like you're doing I'm not like Lillian whereby you have a family in nuclear family. I'm by myself. I actually chose to be that way. When I decided to join the UM, I thought it's gonna be a toll on myself, so I couldn't support a family while actually taking the course. So I decided to put it aside and delay it until I finish from OUM. And I think it was the right decision because during that moment over there, I actually learned that isolation is not the way to go because it's just the way I do things. When I study, I don't know if any of you are like that, but for me, I like to do things my way and I like to do it by myself. I don't want anyone's help. But OUM has taught me to think in a team mentality and to be able to my whole persona, people who's met me before entering OEM, I have to say they're stark difference, totally stark difference. I was like totally keeping to myself, independent, doing things by myself, not even asking help from anyone. But in OUM, it has taught me it's like OUM staff members has become like familial to me in a sense that like when I need something, when I have to do something, I can always email. It's almost like you're although it's not via Zoom, but the emails actually I've learned over there to read between the lines, the emotion and the care being provided through. And I'm pretty sure Dr. Akeke can attest to that. And I think that's what OUM provided for me. OUM provided for me a way to think differently, a way to see and actually gain empathy towards people without having to meet them in person, which is something I don't think I would have gotten if I was in a normal conventional school. I've learned to interact with people in a level of technology that you could only do via in person, which is something OUM taught me very well. And I have to say that the degree, also the qualification is sufficient enough over there for you to go anywhere and actually work there. So I hope that you take seriously your time in OUM because one of the things you will learn when you come across OUM is that there will be troubles. But I hope that you'll be able to persevere. I did read a research over there about the term grit, and I think that's what OUM puts you through. You can go and look it up later. I'm not going to cover the whole thing, but I'm pretty sure once you read it, you will understand. I mean, OUM teaches you that in a level of experience that maybe it gives you probably like decades of experience into the future without, but you have to persevere and actually reap the rewards. That's what I would say about what OUM has provided for me. And I chose it because it was the right, degree for me to take, and it was the right path to take. I hope it would be for you too. Thank you.
Thanks, Gabriel. I like how OUM gives you a space, like if you want to be on your own and have your head down and studying, like you absolutely can. Nobody's going to bug you. But as soon as you start to struggle or something's going on in the environment that's stressful, there's all these people like, hey, do you need help with this? Can we support you here? How are you doing? We're just checking in and like sometimes the folks at OUM, and I say this as a faculty member, having faculty and students checking in on me, and also as associate dean, knowing to check in on students and other faculty. But sometimes people start checking in on you before you even realize that something's off in your environment or before you feel stressed. And it's really reassuring and helpful to have this community around you that you like can have that time to like study and focus on your own, but you also know there's people behind you and like rooting for you, trying to help you do well. So I appreciate hearing that from you, Gabriel. Atusa, what would you say? Why was OUM right for you? What makes OUM different from other medical schools?
I feel like my fellow ambassadors took all the great answers, because they're absolutely right in all their reasons. But the biggest one for me was when I first applied, I was newly married. So it was not only was I going through a massive life change through that, I was taking on, and I was considering taking on another massive life change and going back into study after being out of it for a few years. And so when looking for a university that kind of fit in my lifestyle, and fit with my conditions, OUM was the best one because it wasn't a traditional medical school. I didn't have to commit 5 days a week rocking up into a lecture theatre, sitting down or going to tutorials and, having to put aside any financial aspirations I had in those first couple of years. OUM, especially in the first couple of years, allowed me to be able to work, allowed me to do my lectures and my tutorials within my own time and being able to work on my time management skills. So I was really, really testing myself, but I feel like it was a test for the better. So now that I'm able to, going into clinicals, I'm like, oh, okay, so let me organize my time like this. Let me hit this. Let me check this. It makes me a bit more switched on because I had to be in charge of my own learning at some points. Because if I wasn't listening to those lectures, if I wasn't going to those tutorials, I was the one being impacted. And so it is a great school in regards to it really pushes your boundaries. Medical school is not meant to be easy, no matter where you go. And it's not the easy way out doing OUM. In my opinion, it's actually a lot harder because, how do I say this? It feels like you're going to be having, especially going to a non-traditional medical school, you're going to have a lot of challenges from fellow peers thrown your way. They're going to be questioning you, questioning your educational levels, questioning the standards, and being able to really throw them out of the ballpark, like being able to answer their questions and being able to be like, no, I went to a good medical school. Like, no, we've got this. We can cover these bases. You have to learn to, really put yourself out there. And with OUM, particularly in your clinical years, it is going to test your character because you're going to have to, I want to say, fight a little bit harder to get that spot. You're going to push yourself in a way that you didn't think you'd push yourself before. But saying all that, it's so worth it because the person that you come out being, it just makes you so much of a better doctor because you're going for what you want. And one of the biggest reasons was it wasn't a traditional medical school. And I love that about it. And it allowed me, and I don't have kids yet, but it allows me to even consider the fact that, okay, even if I throw a child in there, it might still work out. Like, it'll still be good. Like, it's not the end of the world. It can work. So I do like that about OUM, and there is a great support system, and everyone was correct. You can have the ability to work autonomously. and do your own thing while also having a great network. And so first year when I started, we developed a OUM WhatsApp group. And to this day, we still, message each other, checking in, any notes we have, anything we find fascinating, any rotational opportunities. Like we built such a great network that I see that chat carrying on way after when medical school finishes. And so it's nice to know that it's a school that offers you those opportunities. That's the biggest reason.
Thanks, Atusa. Yeah, I think there's like grit and perseverance and like high levels of motivation. I think our admissions process in particular and the way that our school is set up, that's what we look for students who have a high potential for perseverance, for motivation, for grit. And so I like that part of your experience in OUM is developing and nurturing those skills. You also mentioned a little bit about like your time management and your self-motivation and self-study. And I wanted Dr. Okeke to speak on this a little bit because you were able to kind of figure that all out. But I would say that's like half the battle of being in your early classes and being in your preclinicals. Like everybody that is in medical school is highly smart, like top 1% smarts in the world. So it's not just that your smartness is going to carry you through, but you have to have really excellent skills in being able to organize your time. So, and not everybody has that coming in. So Dr. Okeke, how do we help students that may not have those skills coming in, or may not even know where to start with that since they've never been in medical school before?
Yeah, that's a great question. Well, I'll just say personally, I wasn't a medical student who had those great skills. I think that they just developed over time as being a medical educator. But don't worry, you all don't have to wait to become a medical educator to get those good skills. We have a student success advisor program to help you develop those skills with individualized study plans. But I think stepping back even before the student success advisor program is looking at Atusa and Lillian and Gabriel and their stories and looking at the richness that they've shared with everyone about how they juggled these multiple entities while they've gone through this non-traditional pathway. Some of that is prioritizing what you have to get done. Making a strategy, I think, is the first step. Associate Professor McGuire and all prospective students having to have a strategy is really a good place to start with those study skills. And of course, here at OUM have a study skills assessment. And that's not a graded test, but that's one place to start to see how you learn, how you study, what's opportune time for you to look at your studies, look at your study space, look at your study hours. And so we have strategies, but I think the core of getting those good skills is to have a plan. And plans don't have to be um, inflexible. Plans can change. Lots of us have had plans that have changed. But I think having a plan and having some strategy is a good place to start. And we can help you with that here at OUM. As your OUM ambassadors have already said, hearing about grit and leadership and character, leadership from Lillian and grit from Gabriel and character from Atusa. Those are good places to start with those study strategies, but having a strategy.
Thanks, Dr. Chi. I'm going to go to our attendees who have submitted some questions in advance, and we're starting to get some questions in our Q&A box as well. So I'm going to start with one of the questions we got in advance from Angelita that is about admissions, and I want to ask each of you about your admissions experience as well. So Angelita asks, what are the requirements for admission to the program? Is there a qualifying exam? Is there a crash review course for the qualifying exam? Are there review books available? How much is the tuition per semester? And how many semesters to finish the program. So we got a lot of information for you, Angelita. And and Mitch wanted to know, we'll put in there too, about the study plan that we ask our prospective students to fill out as part of their admissions. So Mitch wanted to know, how realistic did your study plan that you wrote as part of admission pan out when the actual time came? So let me take some of Angelita's questions first, and then maybe I'll ask each of you about your study plan that you wrote. Did that change or not? So what are our requirements for admission to the program? So you must have a bachelor's degree or higher. So we have many students with bachelor's degrees, many students with master's degrees, many students with PhDs or other types of doctorates. And then the minimum requirement is a bachelor's degree. If it's not from an institution that uses English as their language of instruction, you also have to take an English language exam to prove your competency in our language of instruction, which is English. You must have a 3.0 out of a 4.0 scale, which I'm not going to quote what that is on a 9.0 scale. I think that's a 5, but that information's on the website if you want some further information. We do not have a qualifying exam as a requirement. So those of you who are in Australia, you do not have to take the GAMSAT. We do not require that for part of admissions process. If you have taken the GAMSAT and you would like to submit that, absolutely you can. It's not a requirement. For those of you in North America, you don't have to take CASPER or MCAT. We do not require those as part of our admissions requirements. If you have taken them, you are welcome to submit your scores, but we do not require them. So we don't have a qualifying exam. There's no crash course for that. And you don't have to have any review books available for that qualifying exam. To make sure that all of our students start off together and on the right foot, our first course is called General Principles. Gabriel and Atusa and Lillian, you might have taken Introduction to Medicine, which is just like General Principles. So it literally teaches you the general principles that you need to go on to the systems-based medicine, which is things like the cardiovascular system, urinary system, pulmonary system, endocrine system, nervous system, respiratory, I said pulmonary already, hemimmune, gastrointestinal, musculoskeletal, and tegumentary. Dr. Chi, I think I've gotten all of those. So we, for all of those courses, including the General Principles course, there are specific textbooks assigned. You have access to all of those textbooks in Clinical Key, which is our online library. And we also now more often use Clinical Key Student, which has some really amazing features in it that helps you do things like highlight and make flashcards and Ankies, and it will read to you and it'll do all these fun things. You can share your highlights and notes with others in your study group and through your WhatsApp, so on and so forth. So about the study plan, Mitch wanted to know, how realistic was the study plan that you all came into OUM with? And how did that pan out when the actual time came? Gabriel, you had the funniest reaction. Would you like to start first?
Yeah, okay, I'll just say a few. I'm not really going to cover too much any elaborative detail into it. All I can say is that when I had to study for exams, all the study plan that I came in with all went out the window. So I actually you have to constantly adjust for especially from when we're talking about general principles. It was introductory, I think, for us. You already mentioned it. For general principles, you have to adjust your study plan as every single time of the day you have your next general principle to do, because I found that if I were to use the same one for the next one, it doesn't really work out that well. So I have to constantly adjust. One thing you will learn is that the study plan helps because you already have an idea of what you want to actually plan out your studies to be put through. One of the things that I learned was that I learned from doing the study plan through experience on what time works well for me to study and what time actually I actually get the most information when I'm studying. because I used to study really early, and apparently it didn't work really out for me. But then I found out that later on in throughout when I was taking the SPMs that uh I actually study better around 10 a.m. to like 2 hours then, and then around the evening from around 6 all the way up over there to 10 p.m. But then you have to constantly adjust. One thing I can say is that because your life is also in the way, you will constantly have things going on in your life, and you have to constantly adjust. If you don't adjust, that's why I had to reach out to the support groups. Because at first on my general principles, I didn't ask for help in anything. I was just like full on, and I was just studying. And if there was any issues, I just took it in and then continued through. But once I got to the SPMs levels, I actually found out that man, I needed more help. The study plan for sure helps. I can say that for sure. Because you have something in your mind already once you enter. That way you're not totally lost. When I say it's out the window, it means that the structure you came in with no longer is the same at the last general principle. By the last general principle, your whole study plan is like a whole different person wrote it. So but I can say that that was what my experience was. um every single general principle that actually I took, there was something new about it and I had to readjust. Like for instance, heme actually required a lot of, there was so much information, so the normal structure that I had from my study plan had to change. It had to metamorphosize, like, into something totally different. So by the end of it, I actually found that my heme actually helped me with my SPM study plans, system based modules. So I hope it will be the same with you, and I hope you will have a much more better experience because I felt like my first 2 years was just like suffering game, But throughout every single exam that I passed, the reward sensation from it, that dopamine hit gets you to the next and the next and the next and the next. So I hope that, you build up grit through dopamine hits, and hopefully it won't form any addiction. But thank you very much. Like I hope I helped out to some extent with that. Please work on your study plan and it will help you. And fortunately, from my experience, it helped me adjust better also in my state of life. It gets, no pain, no gain, and it gets worse before it gets better. So, okay, thank you.
You have to have grit like Gabriel. You have to persevere. And something that he said that you might not have caught, like he has to make changes. You have to be willing to make changes. You have to recognize, okay, this is not working for me. I'm going to try something else. It's okay. It doesn't mean that like you're bad at studying or you're bad at school. It just means, oh, I need to make a change. So Ikra wanted to know something else about admissions. Hi everyone. Hi Ikra. My question is, how strict is the 3.0 GPA requirement? Are things like portfolios or a bachelor's background taken into consideration during admissions? Thank you. So OUM uses a whole person approach to admissions. We are not interested in someone who just is a bunch of numbers. I mean, that's great. You can get great test scores, but that's not you as a whole person. So we really take into account all of those pieces of information that we ask for in our admissions process. We really want to get to know, who are you? Who is Gabriel? Who is Atusa? Who is Lillian? Who is Ikra? Who is Melina? Who is Romani? Is this person going to be the right fit for OUM? So if you don't have a 3.0 GPA on a 4.0 scale, the best thing to do is not to say, oh, it's not for me, I can't get in, I'm just going to go away. The best thing to do is to reach out to one of our admissions counselors. Camille and Shanda are so nice, and they know just about everything there is to know about the university, and they can give you some information about how to strengthen other areas of your application, and whether there may be areas where we'd like you to do some more things before you apply. So Lillian, for example, said she went through 2 processes and she was invited to apply the next time. So sometimes that can happen. The best thing to do is share your story and your information, have a chat with our admissions counselors. They do not bite, they're lovely people, and they're more than happy. Our support starts at the admission process. Like, we want to make sure it's the right fit for you, and that you have all the information going in. So that's the best thing to do if you feel like you don't meet one of the published requirements. Atusa, Melina and Michael want to know a little bit about studying in the preclinical. So Michael wanted to know what's the hardest part of the first 2 years of medical school. And Melina wanted to know, how many hours did you spend studying during your preclinical years?
Oh, I'm probably the worst person to answer this.
That's why we want to ask you. We want to
Well-
know the gossip and details.
Okay, honestly speaking, I guess my answer is a little bit biased because I do come from a health background. So the first couple of years, so my previous degrees weren't obviously to the extent of medical school, but they did cover basic principles. So you've got your basic anatomies, you've got your basic systems. So for me, the first couple of years, it was a little bit of a refresher. It had to train myself to remember concepts that I did years prior. So the hardest part was trying to train my brain to retrieve those information, as well as get myself into the pattern of studying and going back to university. And I found that harder than the actual coursework because I had to find motivation within myself. I had to be like, okay, no, like sit down, focus, do this, get your caffeine, get whatever, turn the, all distractions off. And going off what Gabrielle has mentioned, it makes a difference what time works best for you. For me, I found out I'm a late owl. I like to be up all night because that's when I, absorb the most. So after 8 p.m., you're not going to see me. I'm going to be in the room up until 12, 1 a.m. because I like studying at night. But during the day, a simple fly can distract me and I'm off on a tangent for like 3 hours. So I had to learn what times is more effective for me. But the hardest part in those first 2 years was training yourself to be able to sit down, to study, to get that information, and then finding resources, whether it's on the OUM website or whether it's on YouTube or sites such as Osmosis or just any platform that helped you. Do not be afraid to use them because that is what's going to get you past, especially in those preclinical years, learning concepts. You might need these tools. So learning to rely on those is also something that really helped me. But that was the hardest part. And regards to, sorry, what was the second question? I'm telling you, I saw a fly go by. I'm distracted.
Oh yeah, it's morning. It's morning for you.
It's morning.
Lena wanted to know, how many hours did you spend? And Michael wanted to know, what's the hardest part? The hardest part.
Yeah. Yes. So the amount of hours, it varies. You're not going to get, if you put, for example, I'm going to have to do 4 hours a day, I'm going to be strict, do this, and this, it's not going to work because that study is going to become a chore and you're going to absolutely hate the time that you're going to put aside. And I promise you, you're not going to retrieve any information from what you're reading. So the biggest thing I would say is be flexible. If you find yourself, you've got a couple of hours in the morning to spare, and you're like, you know what, I'm just going to open up my book and do this. And then when I come home, I'll read the last chapter. Know that exactly like Gabrielle has mentioned, life is going to take its course, and be able to be flexible with your days is what's going to make it work. Personally, how many hours a week did I study in my first 2 years? I would say about 20 to 25. 20 to 25 was a realistic time. I would love to say it was full-time study. I didn't get that far. With working, with family and whatnot, it wasn't realistic. But I found what worked for me was between that 25, 20 hours. And that is aside from obviously your lectures and whatnot going sort of thing. But yes, the hardest part was learning how to study again. Of course.
Thanks, Atusa. Lillian, there's a question for you specifically. Michael wants to know, and says, I'm also an RN. Shout out to any nurses that are here in the attendees today, whether you're joining us live or via recording. So Michael says, I'm also an RN and I work in the emergency department. Did you find that your training as a nurse, particularly the classes you took, helped you in OUM?
Well, it did help and it did not help, because the thing is, as a nurse working with the doctors, sometimes you're like, oh, let's do this, or let's tell doctor to do this, let's tell doctor to do this. And we always have this idea in our mind that we know it. But then starting OUM, I really had to unlearn a lot of things, because then it made me realize that the doctors, whenever they write any simple medication or they prescribe any simple thing, it does come with a really lot of thinking behind that. So it's not just what we know superficially as nurses. So I really had to do a lot of unlearning. And I think when I started, it was like sort of biochemistry. I hadn't done chemistry for a long time. And so on the side, I had to find like a friend who was a chemistry teacher. So who taught me, like, at least I got through lectures, and then there are certain things that I couldn't understand. So just a little bit of pushing on the side and I could get back to track. So that helped me. But then in terms of being an RN and helping, I must say that, well, it helps superficially that I know bedside manners and I know other things, but I have to really unlearn that to put myself in the realm of a doctor, because otherwise it's not the same. I hope that answered.
Thanks, Lillian. Amber had a question about, is there any pre-med coursework required prior to attending the OUM program, and what are classes like? So we don't have any specific requirements of courses that we say you must take these. We do recommend that students have a background in things like human anatomy and physiology and biochemistry, biostatistics, that sort of thing. But we don't look for that on your transcript and say, if you haven't taken it, you're out. But those things certainly are helpful. I don't know if any of our student ambassadors want to comment on any classes they think would be helpful as background before entering medical school that you might recommend. I think if I may say, the reason that they're shaking their heads is like, nothing can prepare you for the level of information that you need to connect and digest when you're in medical school. Am I right in saying that, Atusa? Okay. But you'll get it. One thing that our vice chancellor says to our current students in our last 2 university-wide meetings, and I think in our last orientation, he said this as well. And he's a very accomplished individual, like worldwide research publications, part of World Health Organization, so much. And he says, if I can do it, then you can do it. And we're all in the boat together. We're all rowing together. So if I can row, you can row. We're all going to row together. So even though there's a lot, there's really not many things that can prepare you for the level of detail and the load, but you can do it. If you're committed to doing it, if you are gritty and you persevere and you have motivation, you can absolutely do it. All right, now I'm going to switch gears just a little bit. And ask a little bit about paying for medical school. Now, don't get into like too many personal details about your personal finance, but how are you ensuring that you have financial security in medical school? How do you make sure everything kind of goes so that your biggest stressor is studying for exams and performing well in clinical rotations? How do you handle finances in medical school? Atusa, do you want to start this one?
Absolutely. for me, I'm the type of personality, out of sight, out of mind. So I'm lucky enough to be able to, I still work on the side, but I'm also, there's my husband. We're able to put aside a year's worth of tuition, pay it the beginning of the year, and then for the rest of the year, I don't have to think about it. I there's already so much stresses in your life. So if the one thing that you can eliminate, and if you do have the opportunity to eliminate that, for me is I couldn't do the monthly installments. I felt that it was easier just to get it out of sight. So I was lucky enough to be able to do that. And there's also that option of doing it every 6 months. So paying that chunk every 6 months, not thinking about it for the rest of the 6 months. But obviously it's a case by case basis. So whatever works for everyone else. But personally, that's how we do it. So in my mind, I'm thinking that I'm doing the monthly installment. So I put aside the amount in an account every month, but I don't pay it all up until that beginning of the year and that lump sum, and then don't think about it. So it's a bit weird how my brain works, but I feel like me putting it away as savings kind of feels less pressure than me thinking, oh my God, tuition's due. So that's how I manage it.
Thanks, Tusa. You do what works for you.
Exactly. You have
Yeah.
to.
Lillian, do you want to add anything to this question?
Actually, no, Atusa is right. But what I did is monthly installments, and that has worked for me. So sometimes when I get sometimes I get a chance, like when the school break, I work a lot. And then whatever money I get, I dump it into the OUM account, like directly into OUM. So because it's set to deduct every monthly, then it just deducts out of that. But then monthly installments have really worked for me.
Thanks, Lillian. So we do have different payment options. So some students do monthly payment plans, and the payment is based on the number of credits that you have to complete, evenly spaced. Students can also purchase all of the credits for one course prior to that course, or you can pay the year in advance. We do even have students that pay for multiple years in advance to take advantage of the earlier tuition rates, as we do adjust our tuition annually with the consumer price index. If you want a little bit more information about our tuition and fees, I won't say those aloud today, because the tuition and fees, we have a guide on our website that gives you our current year's tuition and fees in your local currency. So if you are in New Zealand, you can look on the New Zealand line and see what the cost per credit is in New Zealand dollars. I think we have 162 credits in total. So there are 10 preclinical classes and 72 weeks of clinical courses. Which is a combination of core and elective courses. There was a question that I wanted to make sure that we got to that was about the Samoa rotation in particular. So you heard Atusa and Lillian and Gabriel all talk about the rotations that they've completed so far. And Lillian said that she's about to head to Samoa in January, and Gabriel is there completing his rotations now. So I wanted to ask this question. Let me see if I can find it in our Q&A box again. So many great questions in this box. I wish we could get them all today, but this will be our last question for today. Oh, has it gone?
Dr. McGuire, is that the one with are you able to do more than 4 weeks in
Yes.
Samoa?
Whose question was it? Do you remember?
No, but I may or may not have typed an answer for them.
I think it's Romani.
Romani.
Yeah.
Oh, it's Romani. Okay.
Okay.
They were very excited about that aspect of the program, and if they were interested in completing a longer placement in Samoa beyond the mandatory month. So all of our students complete 4 weeks. Yes, you can complete longer time in Samoa. And does anyone Gabriel, do you want to say anything about rotations in Samoa and why that's will be a unique or a valuable experience for students?
Okay. Thank you. I think this one is already answered by a tutor, I think, but I'll actually give a little bit and also answer Dr. McQuire's addition to the question. One thing I can say is that yes, I did come across a few students here, as a tutor already mentioned. There's a student here, I think he's from Australia, I think, but Frank, so he's actually covering most of his rotation here. Like he's been here from his, I think, first core rotation, in case anyone is actually interested in it. And I've talked with him about it. He said he loves it here, and actually he's taking the most of actually, because like one of the things is that we also have students from other medical schools who come to do the electives here. And majority of the things that you do here in Samoa, you won't be able to do in any other country. So one thing actually I've learned is that we're kind of hands-on in surgical. If you're very interested in being more hands-on in surgical, this is the right place to be in. OT here, you get to assist senior, surgeons. They'll tell you when to actually help out and when to put in, and they'll ask you questions also on the spot. So you have to learn your anatomy. And just when you go into orthopedics, one thing to bear in mind is that there's going to be a lot of shouting when you don't know your stuff. Okay. So senior surgeons don't like it when you play around with when they ask you a question, just be ready. Just understand it's just a matter of culture with surgeons. Like, there are the very nice surgeons you will always find in general surgery, and there are the very tough ones. When you go into orthopedics, there's a few surgeons there that you just have to know your stuff for. So when they ask you a question, if you know it, answer it straight away. And if you can't, and when they ask you to help out, you just have to know how to help out. But they'll inform you. One of the things that actually is that they're shouting, but there's also learning. Okay. So I'm actually putting some butter on the bread there to kind of just like, infuse it slowly into what to expect. The other thing is that when you come here, you get hands-on um knowledge. I think Ramani was actually putting it down. Yeah, there will be a lot of hands-on. You get to go and see the patients yourself. You get to go and examine the patient. So one of the things that they'll allow you to do here is that they'll allow you to go and clock a patient. So you can go and ask the whole information from the patient. You get to do the whole examination. You can even do neuro examination. So your clinical examination of patients will definitely be very good. Like you get to learn upfront, and patients are very willing. One of the things that you also have to understand is that you just learn a few Samoan words, and if not, ask one of the nurses. It is a must for the nurses to come and accompany you if you cannot actually dialogue with the patient or conversate with the patient. And if the nurses are not willing, you can always go and ask the doctors. They'll assign you a nurse to come with you when you're going asking questions. Because that's one of the most of the questions I get a lot when students come here to do their electives is that how do I actually go and ask questions and collect the patients for these patients if they don't speak the language English? You just go and ask a nurse. The nurse will come and be your interpreter there. So it's a must for them to do it. And if they don't, you can ask a doctor over there to assign you a nurse. That's one thing that you will learn. And the other thing is that you will, I'll just say it now, with the IV resites, is what they call it here. When you do IV access, you're given an opportunity to go and do it with an intern. So an intern will accompany you when you go over there to do IV resites, and they will show you how you do it properly. And each student is given at least one poke. I call it the one poke rule. So if not more than that, like, they give you two pokes, but for me, I advise you do one because they'll patients will remember, oh, that's the one that hurt me. Okay. So please be careful when you patients are very willing. It's only in pediatrics because we had the dengue fever. I did a lot of IV accesses there. I can't, count to you how many I had to do there because kids are very different. You might have to have a nurse there to come and hold them down or calm them down while you're trying to do IV, and also taking of bloods. It's very important also to taking bloods because lab results is very important. And majority of the elective students that come, they're not allowed in their country to actually do anything with pediatrics patients. So this is a learning experience to come here. And I hope when learning, you don't just come and poke. I mean, like, just have a little bit of empathy. So if you find that you can't find the vein, please let somebody else come and do it. It's a very humbling experience for me because I went into clinical rotation already had in my mind, okay, I've already read the notes, I've seen the videos, I know what to do, and then it's very different in reality. Okay, so the other thing is that I found in ONG, because these I'm just saying experiences from the rotations I already covered. ONG here in Samoa, you get to assist in the actual birthing of the patients. So that's one thing over there you might not be able to do in other countries, but you can go there and the midwives will be best friends with the midwives and just bear with the stage out. I mean, they one of the things that you have to understand is that you have to have selective learning. So learn the things over there that you think it's good, and actually you learn from your textbooks on how to treat patients, and it's very different in developing countries. So just understand that because this is one of the complaints I got from one of the elective students from United Kingdom. They were coming here from another university, but you just have to learn the good things and actually understand your concepts over there from learning your ethics and understand that everything that you do here, they're still humans and they're still patients. So try over there your best to be as empathetical as possible. But if you need any help and if you can't do it, you can always ask somebody to come and show you. That's one thing that the interns and actually nurses are very helpful. Try to be their good friends, and in good rapport with nurses, you get good rapport with patients, and not only that, you get good rapport with your senior doctors also. So and if you have to leave, one of the things I usually do, which is not something that's written, but I always go and inform the senior doctors that I'm about to head off now. I'm done with my rotation for the day. It's just a kind gesture. And there's different times over there to start rounds in different wards. In general, in surgery, you will have to come at 6:30 a.m. for their rounds early in the morning. And grad ward rounds, you're going to be asked a lot of questions in internal medicine. Okay, so sorry for taking too long. I'm just giving you what I actually learned there. Okay, thank you.
I love hearing from you, Gabriel, because you talked about how you just wanted to be on your own and studying, and then we hear all these stories about you working collaboratively with your teammates, showing respect for others, showing empathy for patients. I just love seeing that like come out. It's wonderful. So we are out of time for today, but I know that all of you who've attended, whether you joined us live today or via recording, will join me in thanking Lillian and Atusa and Gabriel and Dr. Chi for joining us today. We hope that you're ready to learn too. We hope that you're ready to take the next steps and want to join our community. I see that there are a number of really wonderful questions in our Q&A box that we didn't get to today. However, I'm going to pass those along to our admissions counselors, and I'll divvy any up that are to our ambassadors specifically, and we'll get back to you outside of this session with an answer. So Angelita and Anu and Arangia and Chipo, David and Gabriella, Grace and Iraq, and Jems and Jeremiah and Kevin, and Kimberly and Malik and Martin and Melina, Michael and Mitch and Olu and Romani and Salman and Theophile and Toshi and Vinu and Whitney. Thank you so much for joining us. Anyone via recording, great to see you too, and we look forward to seeing you in our next session, which is on the 11th and 12th of September. So any of you who had some further questions after we talked a little bit about finances today, join us for that session. It's our financial info session, so make sure you go on the website and look up the information about tuition and fees, and then come with your questions. We'll have our Chief Financial Officer and myself on that day to answer your questions and to speak with you a little bit more about that. So thank you everyone for joining us. Thank you, student ambassadors, so much for joining us today, and we'll see you all next time. Bye for now.